Hey everyone, we are back again, ready to dive into another story from the depths of Reddit. The tale comes from the AITAH subreddit, and it's a doozy. We've got a wife who's a dedicated doctor, a husband who might have bitten off more than he can chew with stay-at-home parenthood, and a newborn baby caught in the middle. Buckle up, because things are about to get messy. Let's jump straight into the story as we like it. I, 36F, am a neurologist, and I absolutely love my patients and my job. I believe there is no greater honor in life than being able to help others. The road to my medical degree was not easy, and it was paved with many rejections. I was a troubled teen in high school, and I didn't get accepted into any colleges my senior year. I had to work my way up, starting with remedial classes at my local community college. When I finally got into medical school at 26, I was absolutely thrilled. I met my husband, 37M, in my third year of medical school. We have been married for 4 years now. My husband works in marketing, and I make 3 times his salary. From the beginning of our relationship, I was very upfront that I was unsure about having biological children. My dream was always to adopt from foster care, and my husband seemingly understood this. However, after his bee friend had a baby boy last year, he began to really press me on having children. I was initially very against this idea because I was just beginning my career. I wanted to wait a few more years before revisiting the topic of children. In August of last year, I found out I was unexpectedly pregnant due to a condom breaking during sex. I was initially considering an abortion, but after many heartfelt conversations with my husband, we decided to keep the baby, and he would quit his job and stay home until our daughter was old enough to start preschool. There were several factors that went into our decision to have him stay home with our daughter. I make significantly more money than him, so financially, it just made more sense. I am in the first few years of my career as an attending physician. After 4 years of med school and a 4-year residency, I am just starting to practice on my own, whereas my husband has been in his career for 15 years. I was very clear I had absolutely zero desire to stay home and be a housewife. I respect stay-at-home mothers, but my work is my life, and I would go crazy at home all day. This just isn't a lifestyle I want whatsoever. Finally, I am not comfortable putting my child in daycare until she is old enough to express herself verbally. As a victim of a molestation when I was young, I just do not trust people enough to leave my daughter in the hands of strangers when she would be unable to report abuse, neglect. Our daughter is 9 weeks old today, and I am preparing to return to my practice in a few weeks. This weekend, I left my husband alone with our daughter while I attended a medical conference out of state. The conference was amazing, but when I returned home, my husband began acting weird. Today, when our daughter was napping, I pressed him to tell me what was wrong. He absolutely broke down and said he doesn't think he can do this. He expressed how trapped, alone, and overwhelmed he felt all weekend. He now wants me to extend my maternity leave and is talking about trying to get his job back. This made me freak out, and I asked, "Well, what will we do with our daughter now?" He responded by suggesting I leave my practice and work from home. I said absolutely not, and he suggested daycare. At this point, I just lost my shit and screamed, "If I knew you were going to back out of your promise to take care of our daughter, I would have never had your child." I know I completely overreacted, and I would never trade our daughter for anything. I love her so much. But I am so upset with my husband, and I'm not sure how to move forward at this point. Well, after sharing this story, it was only a matter of a few minutes before thousands of comments appeared, with the first being very simple and objective, obtaining more than 8.8 thousand ups in his comment when this user said, "Can you get a nanny?" Then, another user said, "This would totally work. My husband worked from home, but we also had a nanny so he can visit our daughter a lot during the day, but he was also child-free for working. I, of course, went to the office every day. Our nanny was wonderful. You just have to know exactly what you're looking for and screen for that." And one with a good sense saying, "It's also worth noting that OP, at least seems, to be in a fair position to hire an above-average nanny. So rather than hiring some teenager or college student that's just trying to make an extra buck with a glorified babysitting gig on the days they're otherwise free, they could get an educated, certified professional whose own career livelihood would be entirely on the line were something to go wrong. And maybe financially speaking, paying for such a good nanny just so that the dad can go back to work ends up being a wash. But it'd let both of them go back to work like they want and keep their kid cared for. While other added to the same context of the nanny's world. And there are ways to find properly vetted nannies with background checks and who are skilled and licensed in childcare necessities, nutrition, medical training, etc. There are also nannies who specialize in childhood development and education, who can give your child a great start in life, if you can live comfortably without his. Another user said, with the husband working in marketing, I'm sure he could find a remote position and they could still hire a nanny to care for their child while they are working, and dad could be home so that he can alleviate the fear of any abuse and neglect. And a former above-average nanny surges to said, I was an above-average nanny. This is a great solution. My charges got very little TV, lots of trips to parks, libraries, events, living history museums. We did lots of art, music, stories, and mostly someone who talked to them, answered their questions with real answers. An enriching environment is critical to intellectual growth, and adults who are emotionally dependable are critical to emotional growth. Find a nanny who understands this and sings songs and brings treats. Some users stop short of saying the following: get a nanny and dump the husband, gain more than 6.6 thousands of ups. Others said, get a ballbuster abuela, and she can kick the big crybaby to the curb for OP, getting 3.7 thousands of ups. One user said, NTA, don't give up your career. But if he can't cut it, you might want to look into a nanny and include nanny cams if you're worried about safety. This would probably get me thinking about divorce, to be honest, with another thousands of ups. NTA, you didn't overreact? He needs a wake-up call. You only gave him something so enormous and major, his own biological child, because he promised not to destroy your career and trap you as a mother. Now he's discovering that raising a child is non-stop hard work, something you were aware of before you ever got pregnant. Quite frankly, he only has two paths forward. Either he can be a stay-at-home dad and have all the support of a working spouse who comes home to share parenting, or you can divorce him and he can be a single father who gets child support. But he can't trick you into having his child and then claim it's too hard to be a father, and so you have to give up your life and dreams in order to become a supporting character of his dreams. With another user completing on this same line. Not only that, he wants OP to watch their daughter despite knowing how trapped, alone, and overwhelmed it is, while still working to make money from home. This is the classic case of toxic modern family structure, where the wife has to provide both financial, home, and child cares. One user said, NTA, but OP, I would consider the red flags here. He wanted a child, and you unexpectedly got pregnant. Now he wants to go back to work, and the deal unexpectedly changed. Plus, why he felt alone and overwhelmed when he stayed home, but seems no concern for you to stay home and surely feel the same. Then, one user came up with 2 days. He was alone for 2 days and had a complete breakdown. The baby is 9 weeks old. They pretty much eat, poop, and sleep at that age. My husband used to put the baby in the kangaroo carrier and play video games while the baby slept on his chest. Also, anyone else get the feeling he's done nothing over the past 9 weeks to help with the baby, which is why the one weekend was so overwhelming. And later on, this same user just has added the following addition on his comment. Yes, I'm being very glib and making generalizations about what a 9-week-old is like. I still maintain he could have figured out something for 48 hours, and the whole, but my friends are having babies, to the condom broke, to the promises about him staying home with the baby, especially with him knowing about OP's trauma, really makes him look suspiciously like an asshole. He either bit off more than he's willing to chew, or he never had any intention of living up to his side of the bargain. Comments like this received more than 2.1 thousand of ups. Another user said, NTA, you expressed boundaries and rules and he's crossed them. Stick to it, your boundaries. If he's unwilling, consider how important that boundary is to you and how far you're willing to enforce it. A child isn't something one can be so flippant over, and I changed my mind is unacceptable if he is the one that pushed for it in the first place. Also, economically, it makes no sense. And that was enough for this story. There were thousands more comments following the same lines we've selected here. Phew, that was a roller coaster. So to recap, our doctor wife, who never truly wanted biological children, agreed to have a baby with her husband on the condition that he'd be the stay-at-home parent. Now, just weeks into fatherhood, the husband is overwhelmed and wants to go back on his word. This has left the wife feeling incredibly frustrated and questioning her entire decision. Who's the asshole here? It's a tough call. Communication definitely seems to be lacking in this marriage. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Did the wife overreact? Or is the husband completely out of line? And hey, while you're here, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more wild Reddit stories. We've got a whole vault of drama waiting to be explored. Also, if you have a favorite Reddit story you think I should narrate, leave it in the comments. See you next time.